After Moses died, Joshua became the leader of the Jewish people. Joshua led them across the Jordan River, took them to a place called Shiloh, and gave Shiloh the largest and most powerful tribe called Ephraim. The Jews erected a tabernacle, priests served there, offered sacrifices there, felt God's presence there, and it was a special place to God for more than 300 years. But the Jews eventually abandoned God, started worshiping a false god, angered God, stirred his wrath, and he destroyed Shiloh, according to Psalm 78. Those that think God won't destroy a nation should go back and look at Shiloh. Those that think that God won't destroy a city should go back and look at Sodom and Gomorrah. On September 16th, several members of the media reported an interview with former White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer had with former President Trump. Trump said, "Our country has really gone downhill in the last 8 months, like no one's ever seen before. And we're not going to have a country left in 3 years, I'll tell you that." Is Biden really the end of America? Will America's deep state and the global deep state succeed in bringing about the demise of America before 2024 and the establishment of a godless world government and religion by 2030 or sooner? Perhaps it is time for the lukewarm Laodicean churches and those that think that God won't destroy a godless world government and religion to go and look at the Tower of Babel. Without God, America is gone. Consider the following. Vice President Harris was part of a group that raised funds to bail rioters, looters, and arsonists out of jail, and one has now committed murder. The administration knows that human traffickers, drug dealers, terrorists, and people infected with COVID are crossing the U.S. border with Mexico, but they are ignoring it, and in some cases, assisting it. Biden said he would never leave American citizens in Afghanistan, but he has left hundreds there. Biden let Taliban terrorists have up to $80 billion of U.S. weapons. The FBI destroyed Hillary's cell phones for her. Biden lied about his knowledge of Hunter Biden's alleged crimes. Biden has been warned that too much spending can collapse the U.S. economy, but he continues to propose multi-trillion-dollar stimulus packages. The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled that mandated Vs are unconstitutional, but Biden is trying to force people to get one. Fauci lied to Congress about funding COVID research in Wuhan, China, but the Biden administration supports him. Now, the above list shows that America most of us grew up with is already gone, and there's no need to worry because the church will soon be gone in the rapture. FYI, Trump's slogan, "Make America Great Again," strengthen America, don't weaken it. Biden's slogan was "Build Back Better," i.e. get rid of the old America and build it back with a different America. That is what he is doing. Obama called it the fundamental transformation of America. Now, 1. Concerning the decline of the United States, in the establishment of the 10 Kings, on September 20th, it was reported that the community of Latin American Caribbean states met to discuss weakened ties to the U.S. and restructuring into a block of nations patterned after the UE. 10 groups of nations patterned after the UE with a leader over each group, 10 leaders or 10 kings, that would eventually cede their power to one leader has been a globalist goal for many years. Also, the decline of the U.S., Biden's surrender to the Taliban in Afghanistan has triggered calls for the UE to establish a military that does not have ties to NATO. Also, concerning the decline of the U.S., France has recalled its ambassador to the U.S. for the first time in history over a deal that the U.S. and U.K. made to provide Australia with the technology to build submarines. 2. Concerning world government, the globalists have weakened America, and now China wants to replace America, take over the New World Order and dominate it, not submit to it. The globalists are just as much against China dominating their New World Order as they were against America dominating it. George Soros and some of his globalist buddies are now getting worried about the growing power of China. They're even trying to cut off investments in China to weaken China like they weaken the U.S. Now, according to the Bible, the UE will be the main power in the coming world government, not China. Expect China to resist and invade the Middle East as one of the kings of the East, but don't expect China to defeat the Antichrist and head up the coming world government. Third, concerning the mark of the beast, it's a global mandate to identify and track everyone on earth, and it will go into effect at the middle of the tribulation period. There's good reason to believe that the COVID-19 V certificates are on the way to becoming a global mandate to identify and track people. On September 15th, it was reported that 35 to 40 nations, including Israel, the UE, and other nations, will have a digital system in place by early October to identify and track those who have been V'd and those who have had COVID-19 and recovered. Those that get an approved certificate will be allowed to travel. 4, concerning Israel and Jerusalem, America's deep state has manipulated Biden into many mistakes since putting him in office. It seems that God is willing to let America's deep state and Biden weaken America because he said he will allow them to establish a godless world government and religion for 7 years. But now these godless people appear to be preparing to weaken Israel by reopening America's special consulate to the PA in Jerusalem and canceling America's recognition of Jerusalem as the undivided capital of Israel. God will allow them to do this for 3 reasons. 1, he is letting Israel learn to trust him and not other nations. 2, he is letting the nations choose their own judgment. And 3, he is letting the world know that he is God, he restored Israel, and Israel cannot be destroyed. FYI, America's deep state apparently does not know, believe, or understand the story about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace, which is a type of Israel in the tribulation period. One like the Son of God delivered them out of it, and all Israel, all that believe in Yeshua, will be saved in the wilderness or by a deliverer out of Zion, according to Romans 11, verse 26. 5, in May of this year, terrorists in Gaza fired more than 4,000 rockets into Israel, but many were shot down by Israel's anti-missile Iron Dome system. Israel needs this to boost her stock. In June of this year, U.S. Secretary of State told Israel's defense minister that the U.S. plans to replace Israel's Iron Dome missiles. On August 27th, Biden met with the Prime Minister and said the U.S. will replace Israel's Iron Dome missiles. Nancy Pelosi recently put $1 billion into replacing Israel's Iron Dome missiles in a bill to raise the U.S. debt ceiling. The Biden administration has been making many mistakes, Afghanistan, the border, but nothing could be as bad as abandoning its promises to defend Israel. 6, concerning the division of Israel in the Battle of Armageddon, on September 21st, Biden repeated his support for the two-state solution in a speech at the UN. Concerning a falling away in the church, September 21st, LifeSite News reported that Pope Francis has a history of praising pro-abortion politicians, and he supports serving communion to pro-abortion politicians. Pope Francis has the spiritual qualifications of the false prophet. He supports world government, world religion, but he is getting old. If he is the false prophet, the rapture could be very soon. And that concludes the word from Brother Damon. I pray it's a blessing to you, and I will include the link to his article here at the bottom of the description page. God bless.